Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are at day 35 of 100 days of code. This is the code call. If you're watching this as a replay, welcome. If you're watching this live, welcome. And also, welcome to Leon Andersen. Leon, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome, in a good mood. Only a little bit annoyed that yet another day of way too little code. However, tomorrow I have finally nothing else, and I hope that I can get deep into the flow. And yes, so today I tried finishing the constructor with the person constructor, and when I asked ChatGPT, it said I should just basically use the .proto to on an object to compare it to the person constructor, and in the browser console, in the Chrome browser console, when I typed in person.proto, person one was the person that I created using the person constructor. Then I could click like an arrow down, and then it said constructor. The function person. So, and I thought, okay, is that it, or not? And then pre-stream, I talked about that already with Aleph, and it's a bit small, but can't see anything, but I guess it doesn't matter.
Oh, that's so small, but it doesn't let me zoom for some reason.
Okay.
Well, people just have to try it out in their own consoles then, because the Code Sandbox console doesn't show it.
Got it. And then when we talked pre-stream, you said that that I'm on the right track with person.1.proto but I need to use an triple equal to compare it with something, and then I tried out to do person.1 proto triple equal person with capital P dot prototype. I basically guessed that, and it says true, which means that I solved the coding exercise, but still I didn't fully get why that is true, because I basically guessed that I have to use both parameters because both are in the hint. So I was like, okay, if I'm using proto here, then I have to use prototype in the other one probably. So then I said, okay, let us keep the guessing and finding out, or the figuring out why this is the solution now. So that's the cutting edge of my coding understanding now, exploring that. So I would say person.prototype. So I'm typing person.prototype into my browser console, and I'm getting equals a constructor function that is person. Okay. And when I type in person.proto, I get native code. Function equals native code. And I have no idea why that is, but let me think about it. because in order to create the person function, I didn't use dot prototype or neither prototype nor proto. So so if I'm creating a function with a capital P, it sets the things that I put inside as so it treats it as a constructor and not as a normal function, and it puts these things that are used inside as yeah, let's say properties of the object. And then no, wait. So person. Person dot. I mean, I guess it's just basically one of both methods accesses a different directory of where information about the object is stored, but I only know the proto directory. Or does person does the constructor have? Okay, let me try that with capital A array. What happens there? Because that's an object as well. A constructor isn't a constructor with capital A.
Yes, array with a capital A is a constructor.
Okay. Let me check what happens if I type array dot proto. Okay, it just says native code. Interesting. If I type array dot prototype. It shows me all the prototypes. So if I use wait a second. What happens if you type code sandbox console.log of array.prototype? What do you see there? Okay, you don't see much. Okay, because in the browser console, they're like concat, copy within, entries, every, filter, like all these methods.
Yeah, all the other methods, because the browser console correctly prints out the prototype.
Yes, and I'm wondering, so why is Array is constructor a method of array, because the constructor method or constructor. So inside of array.prototype, I'm seeing constructor equals array. So it seems like a loop. Why and inside of prototype, there's also constructor equals person. So why it seems like it's self-referential. Like, is there any insight that one can gain from that, or do you know what I mean?
Yes, no, in JavaScript, the prototype chain is not infinite, but now we're like slowly getting into the depth of prototypal inheritance. So we can look at it like this. Let me show it to you. We have this here. Let me show the other tab really quick again.
Does it have to do with the inheritance?
Yeah, we're looking at so
Okay.
as we hinted at in another episode of the code called JavaScript is a two-paradigm programming language, and JavaScript can be written object-oriented programming or OOP and functional programming, which is called FP. And the inheritance in object-oriented programming in JavaScript is so-called prototypal inheritance. We're going to go into much more depth when we get there, but basically it means this. I told you, I think in one of the very earliest code calls, when you learned about primitive data types and composite data types, I told you, well, behind the scenes, everything in JavaScript is an object. And now you can see how this is true, because the prototype of the person is the person prototype, right? Because this was the constructor function with which we created a person. But the prototype from this person, if we access it again, basically via Banner Proto. So the first one gives us the person prototype, and then basically the proto of this, which is the same as just writing this, right? Because these things, as you can here see in this equation, is the same. The prototype of this is the object prototype, because again, in JavaScript, everything is an object. So what is the object's prototype? If you look at, okay, what is the object's prototype? Null, because object is the one thing that does not have a prototype in JavaScript. But
the base layer.
Yeah, it's not turtles all the way down. It's objects all the way down, and after the object, there's no question about what created the universe. Are we living in a simulation? Is God real? It's just no. It's null. Like the object is the thing that came first.
The object came first. That's awesome. So could you write person.prototype.proto equals object.prototype?
Person.prototype.proto equals object.prototype. Yes, that should work. So let's check it out. Person.prototype prototype.underscore person proto equals to object.prototype. Let's see. So we need to get some structure in here. Let's see what is here printed out, so we can distinguish the different truths. So this one, we grab this right here, this, and then we grab this here, this, and lastly this, grab it like this, save. Okay, well, let's go all the way up. So first one, person_proto, person prototype true. We got that from the beginning. Person_proto equals object.prototype. That is true. Now person dot prototype dot proto equals object dot prototype. Yes, that's also true. And then we've got, let me make this a little bigger, like this, then it's easier to read. And then lastly, person dot proto dot proto dot proto is null because objects don't have a prototype.
Why not false? Why is it null instead of false?
Because we're not comparing anything here, right? Here's no triple equal.
Got
The
it.
log.
Got it. And why is it not undefined? Because it's there can't even be anything undefined with it, or I don't know.
Yeah, that is due to the biggest mistake that the creator of JavaScript did. He actually said, Brent Malik is his name. Brent Malik actually said, my biggest mistake in designing the language was creating null. So because JavaScript is weird and has two different ways of saying there's nothing, null and undefined. And for some reason, like JavaScript has a lot of weird quirks. And one of the weird quirks is, well, the prototype of an object is not undefined, it's null. Go live with it.
So it's basically just a random artifact.
I mean, it's used all the time. You will see it a lot in your day-to-day life because some people just prefer the aesthetics of null, right? But it's a huge source of errors. Probably this one choice of Brent Malik has probably caused billions of dollars of damage, of just wasted human potential, people, debugging stuff that they wouldn't need to debug if null wasn't there. Again, it's in his mind. He once was asked, like, what's his biggest mistake when designing JavaScript? He was like, okay, that I created null and put null into the language.
But can't you just treat null and undefined as the same?
No, because console.log null equals undefined, null equals undefined. Console is not a function here, but log is false. They're not the same.
But what is the difference then? I don't understand. I thought they are the same. That's what it sounded like.
No, they're not. Like it's two ways of saying, hey, there's nothing, but they're not the same. And like there are some weird specific details.
Okay.
But the main thing that you need to know is this is dangerous territory, and there are different ways to dealing with this later when you build your apps. But we should get there when we get there, and it's a huge topic. Some people like to use TypeScript, which is something that we'll also get to know sooner or later, which is basically type JavaScript, and TypeScript can help you prevent running into errors because these two things are the same or not the same, but kind of are, but actually are not. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, can we get back to the main difference between Dunder Proto and Prototype? Because okay, let me just look over the code you wrote. If I can recall what you said.
Hello, Cortoba. How are you doing? Thanks for tuning in. In case you don't know what this is the code call. We are with Leon Andersen right here, who's on his 35th day of coding. He literally started coding 35 days ago, and this is 100 days of code, probably more, bringing him from not ever having coded in his whole life to being a senior developer. Let us know in the comments what is your journey, and if you have any questions about coding in general.
Okay, so person1.prototype is undefined, right?
Person1.prototype. Let's see. I don't think it is. Console. Person1.prototype. Person1.prototype. See, person. Oh, yeah, it's undefined. You're right. Yeah.
Okay, so is the difference that you use .proto on is person1 a variable? Or is it an object?
Person1. Yeah, both. It's a variable and
Yeah,
it's
I
an
mean
object
everything.
created by a constructor.
Okay, but it's not a constructor object.
Function is a constructor function. So person is a constructor function, but person1 is not a constructor, right? You cannot say new person1.
Okay, got it. Okay, so dot prototype, is it true that dot prototype can only be used on constructor functions and not on variables?
Yes.
Okay, okay. And they are, but they are, but dot prototype is the same as proto, or is pointing to something similar as proto.
Yes. So that's the core question, right? And let me say something really quick because I just said that dot proto type is only available on constructor functions. That's not entirely true. Even regular functions have a dot prototype. So the correct answer is all functions in JavaScript have a dot prototype, but only when you use the function as a constructor function, then the object created by that constructor function, say, then the underscore proto of the object that was created using that constructor function points to the prototype of the function that it was created with. And that is also the whole definition. So there is nothing like big underlying to understand because this is just the same way that you need to memorize, okay, const is the way that you create a variable or let or var, it's just part of the syntax, part of the
Got it.
language JavaScript is that the underscore proto property is always pointing to the prototype property of its constructor. And that's just automatically done behind the scenes for you whenever you create a new thing using a constructor function.
Got it. So actually, I realized that the smartest thing I could have asked ChatGPT was to explain me the difference between proto and prototype, and then I could have easily or way easier to solve the whole thing.
Yes, exactly. But that's also why you want to ask that a question, and it's one of the key skills that you're picking up right now. Like, literally, one of the things that a good senior dev needs to be able to do is he needs to know, or she needs to know, or they need to know how to formulate your questions correctly so you get the answer. This was a lot harder a year ago when we didn't have ChatGPT and you had to basically find through Google the correct article or the correct Stack Overflow post. And now, even if you're not precise in your language, ChatGPT will usually answer you with a precise language so that you're better in Googling.
Okay, yeah, that's a big lesson to be more creative when finding out the right questions that I need to ask, because give me one hint is is not there is more creativity in asking questions than give me one hint.
One thing that always works well as a little cheat code for you and everyone else that's watching, if you want to use ChatGPT as your little AI mentor, tell ChatGPT exactly what you know right now. Be like, hey, I've understood this, I've understood this, I've understood this, but this is what I don't understand. And I don't want you to give me the answer. If you want to, work with hints, you can then say, now give me a hint. And then ChatGPT has the right context to give you the perfect hint usually.
Yeah, I mean, I part of me thinks that might be a little bit too much. Like, okay, I know what you mean. Not everything what I know, but everything related to the to the exercise I know.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
I
you
was a
cannot
bit
put in
like,
everything because of the token limit, even though you probably have more knowledge than 4,000, 3,000 words right now, even if you condense it, because you've already been studying this language for 35 days. But yeah, everything that you know related to the specific thing. And then if this ChatGPT gives you a hint, and you don't understand the hint, you can let it know, right? And maybe it gave you a hint using something of the language that you haven't learned yet, but it will figure it out when you say, hey, by the way, you told me I should use a transducer. I don't know what a transducer is. And then ChatGPT will be like, oh, okay, let me give you a different hint.
yeah. I mean, I said, okay, here's a coding exercise. Give me one hint, not the solution. Then I said, then I pasted the coding exercise and said, this is what I already have, and pasted the person function, the constructor function. So that's similar, but the first answer actually, it said, you can use the instance of operator. Try using it to check if an object is an instance of the person constructor. And I haven't seen that before, so I thought I'm not going to use that because I have to use proto and prototype. So yeah, I guess to get closer to your solution, I can also check inside of questions or inside of exercises to actually understand each of the elements, because yeah, if I would have been what the proto and prototype actually are, because to me it was like an implicit understanding of, okay, there's some referencing to some methods and to some lower level properties, but I didn't know the difference. So yeah, I mean, I will. That's the thesis now. That I'm going to use to see if I can ask better questions when looking at coding exercises, and I will test it, and then I will report back how that goes.
Nice. And yeah, instance of works, but one thing you need to know about instance of is it's very, very edge casey. And you're going to learn those edge cases when you dive deep into the language. But yeah, it's not reliable. I would always use the prototype comparison to be very sure if you ever need to do these checks.
So that's alternatively, you can check the prototype directly. That's an answer from ChatGPT, or
No. So the way
okay.
that this directly checking is what we did in the exercise, right?
Yes.
Yes. And you can also use instance of, which ChatGPT suggested you initially. But the problem with instance of is it's very edge casey. And
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, the get prototype of person one, the one below.
Yeah.
Where is that coming from?
Oh, that was already in this document for a while now. Yeah, that's another way that you can do this. Is basically an internal implementation of this access right here from JavaScript that also handles just certain ways the object is created for you.
Got it.
And some people prefer these. And object dot, there are many things that you can do with object dot. There are many useful methods similar to the array. Although the array has different ones, right? You already explored some of the array like map and filter, and object has for some example, for example, stuff like keys, values, and stuff. But we get to those too.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Nice. Yeah. Then any last questions?
I mean, you basically now showed me that everything is an object, but what are there any useful insights that I can practically use from that, or practical steps that I can use from that insight now already, or do I wait a little bit more until that becomes relevant?
Yeah, wait a little bit more.
Okay, got it.
Just keep it in the back of your mind, and it will immediately click once you encounter a situation where it's relevant. Then you're like, oh, okay, you know, without this insight, you'd be like, how, why does this work? But now that you had this insight, as soon as you're going to see something that requires this insight to understand it, you will be, oh, okay, I got it. Went over this on day 35.
I will think of day 35 exactly. I will know. I will knit the second, and I will. Nice.
I remember at 18 minutes into the stream.
Nice. Yeah, awesome. Yeah. I mean, I already just briefly started the My Promise exercise, but I think let's keep that for tomorrow.
Awesome. Okay. Then thanks everyone for tuning in. If you're watching the replay, thank you for watching the replay. Keep in mind, just code a little bit every day. Keep your coding habit up. You can get better bit by bit. If you need study buddies, if you need a mentor, if you need someone who you can compare your own progress with, get inspired, or just feel good in case you're faster. You know, both ways can work for you. Check out the stream. We're streaming daily. We're documenting Leon's coding journey. He goes from zero to senior developer. Let's see how long it takes. But as soon as he's there, there's no excuse for you not to be there too. So yeah, keep coding, keep learning. It's a beautiful language that can transform your life. It can give you job opportunities. It can give you financial opportunities, and it can be a lot of fun for you. Thank you everyone for watching. This has been day 35 of 100 Days of Code with Leon Andersen. And this was the Code Call with
Leon Andersen, as you just said already, and with my mentor,
Alex Mill from Panic Dev. I mean, redundancy helps you to memorize stuff, you know? So everyone needs to know your name.
Absolutely. Always be coding and have fun.
Yes,
See you tomorrow.